do have multiple microphones that I use to record. The guitar, I have a Martin D12 guitar. It's one of my sort of prized possessions. I play lots of music from the early 2000s and the 1990s. Mostly alternative rock. Sort of, I play Nirvana and Counting Crows and Sunny Day, Real Estate, some Green Day. There's lots of songs that I remember, like maybe one song by that artist, and I sort of play that one. Bush is another one. I'm looking at my list here. Oh, the Foo Fighters. I was way into the Foo Fighters. I think the Foo Fighters are a great, they're kind of very simple, you know, and the frontman, Dave Grohl, he'll even tell you, there's a video of him writing a rock song. I think he's teaching Jack Black or something to write a song, and he just plays 3 power chords and makes up some lyrics about wanting to be home or something like that. And it's actually a pretty good song. So I saw them live once. It was an amazing show. Joan Jett came out and played with them. Joan Jett sang and sings I Love Rock and Roll. And she was like this big ball of like punk attitude, and like she's fairly old, I guess you would say now, but her level of energy and like just badass awesome energy was very high, and she played something with the Foo Fighters, and she and Dave Grohl had a great dynamic because they have a very similar kind of just intensity to how they perform and just their level of attitude and sort of presentation ability. I think that more than any other show I've been to, Dave Grohl, he really knows how to get energy from the audience and give that energy back to them, but multiply it. So I like that band. There's some other bands, the Goo Goo Dolls. I like Iris. Iris is actually quite easy to play because you change your tuning. That means that a lot of the song you can just strum your strings without pressing down on any of the strings. So that's a good song, but I was going to just test the setup out and see how it works. Maybe I'll tell you some things that I did today. So I actually work in a sound lab, and today I was working on setting up a bunch of speakers, and I science has not addressed it formally. It's clearly a thing, and people have sort of, we would say empirically, um, empirically found these different triggers and different sounds that people are sensitive to, that, and there's so much diversity. A lot of people that I talk to, they think they don't have ASMR, and what I'll tell them is that, well, yeah, maybe you don't, but what I suspect is that a lot of people just haven't found the right trigger. Um, it's it's interesting the level of diversity in the triggers, in the fact that there's visual and also auditory. I've heard that it may relate to a instinct to like grooming activities in primates, and that makes sense because, for one thing, it's not good to have bugs on your back, and for another thing, grooming is an activity that promotes forming social bonds. So, contrary to what some people think about evolution and stuff, we have a lot of adaptations that are explicitly allowing us to work well in groups and to help each other out, and maybe even engage in altruistic activities. And so grooming is one of those things, and it makes sense that having someone that is paying attention to you would be a similar experience, and it's kind of sad in a way that we've had to rediscover this. I think that, when people braid each other's hair or things like that, that's probably taking advantage of something similar. Not that braiding hair isn't also valuable in and of itself for appearance reasons, etc., but I think that there's probably various forms of interaction that take advantage of ASMR, and we don't realize that that's what's going on. But if you look at other areas of science, a lot of the what we would call the folk beliefs, like the myths, and things like that, a lot of that actually has a lot of validity. Some of it does not, but some beliefs like that, it really is a case of people, and people like the ASMR community that are just kind of playing around and discovering knowledge and passing knowledge around, and speech patterns, or we'd come up with some kind of name for it like that, and sort of get at some of the science behind ASMR, but it's very interesting to me because right now it's an art form. People that do this, we call them artists, and they definitely are, but they're also discovering how it works at the same time. It would be as if we called someone a musician, but they were also discovering what all the different notes were, and what frequencies of notes sounded pleasurable to us. So we would, in a sense, think of them as a scientist, in addition to a musician, sort of making their art. But I think this is ultimately sort of a moot discussion. Science is probably defined more by the scientific method, which is pretty simple, and there is a lot to that, though. There's a lot of specific things, like what you want to be doing is disproving a theory, not trying to support one. This comes from a guy named Karl Popper. He had this idea that basically the way to do science was not to try and pile up lots of evidence in favor of a theory. The way to do science was to design one study that, if the study goes a certain way, the theory is definitely wrong, and so you can move on and look at something else, because there is a problem in science, especially in psychology, that some theories just kind of die. It's very, there are fads, basically, and there's sort of a prevailing theory, and lots of work will be done in that direction for a while. And then sometimes there will be a good reason for that to be rejected, but other times you'll have theories that just sort of dead end, and no one does that kind of work anymore because it's just not easy to